Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Wednesday. Just kidding. Happy Saturday to you. It's not a hump day, it's a weekend. Take it easy, right? Hopefully you can take it easy with your profits that you've been hopefully taking. If you're hodling on for dear life, that's okay. Different story altogether. But at this point, we're just going to look at best practice, big picture, and help understand generally where this might go next. Because a lot of times coins like this will have a tendency of repeating its previous behavior. So we'll look at the history, but also note that this is mostly fundamental stuff here, right? So Elon sends out some tweets and we got something like this. Elon buys Twitter and this happens again. So got to keep in mind, there's a handful of reasons why this is occurring. Elon is doing the same exact thing. No surprise there. So just keep in mind, this is going to be a bit of a bumpy road. But what we look at with the technical analysis is the big picture kind of Fibonacci retracement levels, previous potential support and resistance zones, and help understand roughly where the price could go next, until the next tweet is sent out and it's just resets the whole thing again, right? So again, that's kind of where we're at here. Let's go ahead and take a look. Just before we get started, I do want to note that I am not a financial advisor. I just truly love teaching people to trade. So if you want to become a better trader and have that for yourself, cryptocash.tech is a site. Link in the description below. I basically provide you with trading signals, trading academy, and a trading community. So my community is phenomenal. First of all, what we have is a lot of awesome trade setups here, trade results more importantly. If you take a look at some of this here, Austin J is just killing it, right? They're using Bitget and all doing fantastically well, and I'm super proud of my community. I mean, everyone's just having a tendency of doing very, very good, and yesterday was a really good day for us too as a community. If you take a look here as well, for our signals, we took 62% profit on Solana in 2 hours and 10 minutes, and we took 40% profit on BNB in 2 hours and 4 minutes. So again, really awesome stuff, all things that are kind of naturally built into my community, and just fantastic situation there. Very last thing too, of course, make sure you join with the link in the description below. Bitget offers a lot of competitions every month, and we just finished one. So it was a $10,000 prize pool to all of my community members. So again, use that link in the description, you'll be eligible for the next one, okay? All right, so here's the thing with Dogecoin. And I know it kind of seems redundant and funny and weird, but it's just one of those things where this is very common. This is par for the course, okay? So let's take a look at the daily first of all, and take a look at its history. This is not a very normal movement or pattern. Now, don't get me wrong, what we're seeing today is normal for Dogecoin, but in general, compared to traditional coins, there's no reason for this to happen. These are all fundamental catalysts. Every single spike that you see that typically results in a significant decrease to follow is essentially a Dogecoin manipulation, for lack of better terms, where somebody somewhere sends out some tweets and everyone just go ahead and rallies to get the price up. It's a really unique phenomenon, so pay attention to that, of course, but this makes perfect sense because this whole week has been Elon buying Twitter, and once he did, it just goes parabolic, okay? So you got to keep in mind, it's not going to continue forever, but on the same accord, will history repeat itself, right? Because we look at almost every single pump, it's followed by a strong red candle. Most of those are bearish engulfing candles to follow the day after. Okay, so again, anytime you see this with these super large candle wicks, it's going to come back, all right? So again, even this first one that came up really strong, came down very strong as well, and most of the times when you look at the Fibonacci retracement levels, again, this is just a spitball, a lot of times it comes down and consolidates and bounces off of that halfway mark, the 0.50. Okay, so we're going to take a look at Fibonacci retracement here as well, and kind of get an understanding of what that might look like to help you better understand and anticipate the near future. And it's very common, of course, at first for the price to consolidate at 0.236. That's what we're seeing here as well. So let's talk about that. First of all, let's go ahead and go with some standard indicators here. On the daily, wow, this is almost comical, 94, almost 95 on the RSI. Typically when you see 70 on the RSI, the price will pull back, but this just went crazy. So again, the standard technical analysis or just the standard stuff of what should happen with a coin isn't happening here. It's another reason why you want to take extreme caution with coins like this, and I highly recommend taking profits while you still can, because all those things you hear, those memes about people making millions of dollars off of this coin, while it's true, it's very rare and very uncommon. So please don't put your life savings into this. Do the smart thing and take profits when you can, because it's really just one of those situations where the likelihood of a pullback is extremely high. We're starting to hit a resistance, obviously, right there at about 15 cents. The price is pulled back to close to 13 now at this point. So how much lower could it go? Statistically speaking, traditionally, the price should come back down to the 0.5 range, which would put us at roughly the 10.5 cent range. Now again, is that a guarantee? No, but As we looked at previously, Dogecoin has a tendency of doing this. Every single parabolic increase is followed by a parabolic decrease. It's the reason why we do not like these types of increases, because they're difficult to trade. It's all speculation. So again, instead of speculating, use your knowledge here, use your mind. Is this really going to go any further? The likelihood is very, very low, but it's still possible. All right, so we cannot remove that completely. So unfortunately, there is definitely potential for this to continue. But traditional indications are telling us that we're extremely overextended and there's no reason for it to continue. Let's see if the moving averages are coming down here. We're actually above the 200-day set moving average, which is positive. So if we were to pull back further to say harder than the 0.5 range that I'm expecting, we can see right there at about 0.78, or basically 7.8 cents rather, is the consolidation period or price point where the 200-day set moving average is at. And it's basically telling us in the last 200 days, the price action has averaged itself out to 7.8 cents. Okay, now we're above that, that's considered a support level, therefore positive in that sense. But that's the only glimmer of hope here. The likelihood of a stronger pullback is still there. Okay. Now you can argue the fact that it's already pulled back. Yes, that's possibly true. We could see consolidation at 12.9 or 13 cents and the price continue up from there. There is possibilities. But the likelihood is fairly low. What I'd like to see is a reset as well. What I mean by that is we can tell, obviously, that we're at a 9 on TD sequential. Okay. Now, it did get a little bit of a reset here, but we can see there's been two runs. First of all, we hit our first 9 here, then went into about 10 4-hour candles, basically 40 hours worth of continuation to the upside. Got a little 20-hour reset or 16-hour reset, and it hasn't looked back since. Okay. So again, that's not enough time to consolidate to warrant a price point remaining this high. Traditionally and statistically speaking, the probability is extremely higher that it's going to go lower from here than it will go up. I hope it goes up, and there's a possibility that, again, this is all fundamentals. If tomorrow Elon Musk sends some random tweet and everyone just kind of takes the bait, he'll cash out and the rest of us will be stuck with a higher price. Okay? Again, a lot of different things that can happen. We truly don't know. But what we have here is telling us that there's no reason for it to maintain this price point. Because if you look at its first time it came up here to this overextended state, we can see that the price pulled back, RSI dipped below 70. We're pretty much at that same point right now where the likelihood of the price pulling back is high. I would foresee 11.5 and or 10.3 cents being the next likely targets. Again, just the standard normal stuff that should happen. Is it guaranteed? Hard to say specifically, but when you have an overextension on TD sequential, 2 9s in a row, there's a very strong likelihood for a pullback. And you know what's interesting about that too? If you do the math, 9 4-hour candles, that's 36 hours, right? Well, even though that's short, if you add that to the other 9, that basically puts you at 72 hours. That's literally the same amount of time it takes for 3 white soldiers. And 3 white soldiers, if you're not familiar with that candlestick pattern, is 3 very long green candles, which we're seeing here so far. It may not look like it, but these are 2 long candles here as well. And that is essentially meaning that we're going to see a red day to follow. So if today doesn't close above 12.9 cents, then there's a strong likelihood we're going to see red tomorrow. And actually, I think it's honestly pretty safe to say it's going to do that as well anyways, just based on the simple fact that it's extremely overextended on every single time frame. Let's take a look at the 1 hour just for S&Gs and see kind of where we're at. So we see here we're at a 9 on TD sequential previously, got some consolidation, came up to another 9, and I went sideways up to a 6, small reset up to a 5. So we've in essence hit 3 9s in a row over the last 48 to 72 hours. Okay, so again, consistent. It's consistently inconsistent in the sense that it's hitting 9s all the time, but it's also erratic too. It's not spending enough time in consolidation. This makes sense here that we got a decent amount of consolidation there, but this was not enough, and this is not enough either. So again, pullback seems very likely. Let's also take a quick peek at standard deviation too, just out of curiosity. I'm sure it's fairly out of whack, or has been, but we can see it's pushing outside of Bollinger Bands here recently. So oftentimes when you see a price go this high above, it's a good point in which you want to maybe take a different direction and go the other way. So again, just something to kind of look at and pay attention to, but yeah, it's absolutely out of whack, especially when you take a look at the volume. The price point is much higher than what the volume is, which implies that there was no selling pressure at this time. Well, at least that was roughly a couple of hours ago. Now there is selling pressure, the price is relaxing a little more at this current support level. Okay, so what that basically just means, the translation there is that we could see consolidation at this price point. It could continue higher. There's definitely a chance of that. Coins like this do have a tendency of continuing much further than they should. But right now, statistically speaking, we should not be at this point, and it should pull back right away. So I am not telling you to short this coin. I'm just telling you that the likelihood of an upside is a lot less than the potential of a further downside. And what will probably happen, it may not be a strong push down. It'll probably be more of a bleed out where the price action comes down lower slowly. Let's take a look at Ichimoku Cloud. I'm sure it's still cranking, but it really just tells us if we got maybe about 12 more hours of continuation of the side, then we'd maybe want to consider trimming our position. So for lack of better terms, if you have an open position now, it doesn't mean you want to short or close it or short. It just implies you want to keep it open until these signals tell us to close. And what I mean by that, this is a lagging span, so if you haven't seen any of my videos, roughly 12 hours from now, it'll intersect with the price action, the price goes sideways. That would also inevitably put the conversion line below the baseline because we lose that momentum, right? Just like a moving average convergence divergence on the 4 hour, for example, they run very concurrent. And in that sense, if we see those two things happen, the only last saving grace we'd have is the actual cloud itself with the upper and lower lead. So again, there is a decent amount of support we have with not only volume, but also the potential there with the cloud itself possibly holding the price action in place. But again, within 24 hours from now, just say we have a closure today at whatever price, it doesn't really matter what closes today. Likely, of course, again, because it's a weekend, not super important. But what I'm getting at is that if we have another 24 hours from now and the price is still at 12.8, then I think the likelihood of an upside from there is greater because it's had enough time to consolidate versus going down. Okay, but right now it's telling us and it's kind of screaming that it's overextended and it needs to calm down before it gets too high. So I'm glad that it's pulled back the way that it has. I just think we need to wait a little bit longer to go ahead and take entry. And I know there's going to be some folks out there who are going to say that, hey, you're going to miss an opportunity. That's fine. I don't mind waiting a week to get 60% on Solana and 40% on BNB in 2 hours. That's fine by me. That trust me, I'm doing just fine doing that. And so is our community too. And if you are going to just kind of jump in willy-nilly without doing any analysis or understanding how these things kind of add up together, you're doing yourself a disservice. And that's perfectly fine. You can listen to XYZ other blogger out there that's telling you to buy because a new tweet is coming out, and that's perfectly fine if you want to do that. I just recommend you think through your trading before you take a trade. Okay? All right. So again, patience is key in this game. The best traders are those who take very few trades and have higher successful trades. I prefer to stick with that myself. It's been working for years. All right. Good luck to you. I hope that works out well and you found benefit from this. Obviously, follow me on social media if you get a chance to, because I'll have constant updates. I'm also going to provide some giveaways here in the relative near future, which is going to be fun. So if you just say, forward a tweet, for example, it could be Dogecoin if you'd like, then you would be qualified for that potential benefit there of a giveaway. Okay, still figuring it out. I think first of the year we're probably going to roll out with that, but between now and then, try your best to make sure you're not making too brash of a decision with something like this, because this is a meme coin no matter how you look at it. Okay, there's a reason why this and what Elon coin are running parallel and concurrent with each other. The use case is minimal. Trust me, I guess there's still an application, but it's still also, for lack of better terms, something that isn't really truly that beneficial in the big picture. Like, I don't foresee Dogecoin, and again, I hope I eat my words. I don't think Dogecoin is going to be at the $1, $2, $10, $100 mark in the relative near future. Just like same thing when it comes to Terra Classic. There's just the math isn't there. Okay. It's going to be dumped soon as it pumps. And just take a look at its history. It's done this before, okay? So I hope you didn't buy up here and you're trying to buy right here again with the same intention. You got to try to think about it. Think through. What are you doing? What's your goal here? Either way, I'm sorry. Another circle that I go in, I apologize. I just like to make sure that people don't get wrecked, and I get tired of hearing terrible stories, people coming to my community asking for help with their damaged portfolios, and they're all based on coins like this. Again, be careful, be smart, and be wise. And if you want to be better, CryptoCash.tech is a site, link in the description below. I look forward to working with you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for your time.